Vikram Kamath here, and it's great to have you back with us on this episode of Talent Management Insights. Our guest on this episode is an industry veteran with over 36 years of corporate experience in areas such as sales and operations, leadership, and organizational transformation. He has worked extensively in the IT and manufacturing domain, as a consultant. He has worked with clients across IT, finance, banking and insurance, manufacturing, government, and the hospitality sector. He's a global Indian who has lived and worked in Singapore, US, and Canada, in addition to having traveled across 25 different countries. I would extend a warm welcome to Anand Pillai. It's great to have you back, Anand.
Thank you, Vikram. That is so nice. Yes.
Anand and I will be discussing on the Great Resignation.
It's a pain area or a need area, but at the same time, it's an opportunity for organizations to reinvent themselves in and through this Great Resignation if they ask the key questions and also do the right.
This concept of internally grooming and growing people who are 60-70% there, who are already equipped with knowledge of the company, the internal systems, the culture. This seems to be one of the most logical way forward given what's unfolding in the Great Resignation. But do you see any challenges for people to actually, for organizations to actually implement this? But because we still continue to seem to be hiring, and that disparity between the new person and the old person, this further aggravates the situation. So do you see any challenges in doing this?
The big challenge is there is this soft notion we have that the grass is greener on the other side. Familiarity breeds contempt. So what happens is, I know this guy. I know the ins and outs of this person. Chances are there is a better candidate outside. That mindset is there. And once I even unconsciously show that mindset to my existing team of people, they will not show themselves as a candidate for that particular position. They say, anyway, whatever I do, they're going to get a guy from outside only. So what's the point in me putting in that extra effort? And that is a cyclical problem that needs to be corrected. So we need to say, in a large number of organizations, I mean, GE or Procter & Gamble or Unilever, whenever a position opens up in any one of these 5 avenues, they first look at within. Who is the person? But they don't look at, now go back into all of them, almost all of them have got what I would call a time or a notice that is given to us. Except in the case of death, we did not address that here, except in the case of death, and that too sudden death. All other cases, there is enough time given to the organization for them to prepare for that particular group.
Correct.
Take attrition, for example.
It's never overnight, yes.
It's never overnight. Take attrition, for example. Every organization has got anywhere between 1 to 3 months notice period. Leave that notice period. I would say EWS. What is EWS? Early warning signal. There is enough early warning signals that an employee gives before he or she tenders the resignation letter. For example, there are 4 or 5 early warning signals that I constantly keep looking at and trying to arrest that at the early warning signal itself. One of the first early warning signal is the person will be doing work to rule. That means they will not do anything more. Then this is the sign of a disengaged employee, or what I would call a quit but stay employee. So the person is mentally quit, but he's staying on. So he or she is doing only what is required to be done. That's an early warning signal. I need to sense that. I need to address that. The second early warning signal that is there, that a candidate is likely to leave, is he or she will not be available for extra office hours discussion, or even canteen discussion, or a water cooler conversation, or any of those things, because they will stick to the formal atmosphere itself. They will
cutting
not
off the social connects start crumbling.
They start crumbling. So we know that this person is on his way out. The third one is that this person will give what I would call telegraphic answers. You ask the person, for example, I ask, Vikram, how are you? I'm fine, thank you. You know,
Yeah.
if I was engaged or if Vikram was engaged, hey, Anand, thank you for asking that question. I'm fine. Hey, how about you? You know, so we know the person is giving, that is not just for social questions, that is even for
Work
professional
related.
questions.
Yeah.
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 So they'll give telegraphic answers. The fourth one is he or she will be taking frequent leaves.
Hmm.
This frequent leaves is either because they've already got a job and they want to exhaust their leaves, because that even if you want to encash your leave, when you encash your leave, you get only your basic pay.
Yes.
Whereas when you take leave, you'll get your full salary.
I think this is
People
a
are smart.
very powerful early warning signal that you're leave, you start taking leave. I think this is something
Taking leave.
which a lot
The
of people
person
will.
will
Yeah.
start giving all sorts of what I would call non-questionable excuse. My
Hmm.
mother is sick, or somebody is terminally ill,
Yeah.
and so on. You will want to, oh, what can I do for you, and so on. No, it's okay. Or I need to attend to my ailing father, or some crazy thing like that. And the fifth one, which is a real light bulb situation, he or she will say, I want to have a word with you. I want to discuss with you. Because I'll tell you one thing, people who are put in 5, 10 years, 15 years of experience in the company, they will not want to leave just like that. So if I'm
Correct.
reporting to you, I'll say, Vikram, I want to talk to you. And if you say, yeah, we can meet, how about next week? The next week is not the thing. When this person is giving that, these early warning signals, so come back to that attrition, there is enough warning for us.
Correct.
Even though the resignation happened and the person is going to cut the notice period, there is a time. Take the case of career transition. In the career transition, again, the person has moved to another role. He has not moved to another role immediately. He has been wanting to go into that. Take the case of business growth. Even there is enough, information or time notice for us. I don't suddenly decide to open up an office in another location overnight, or I don't
Correct.
suddenly decide to get into a product line overnight. So there is enough notice there. The biggest notice is there in the superannuation. I mean,
Yeah.
nobody suddenly becomes 58. I mean, so you decide from 55 onwards or 53 onwards, depending on job shadowing and whatever. And many organizations, one of the best practice that they do is, okay, we are getting this person to retire at 58.
Hmm.
From the time he or she is 55, let us give job shadowing so that even if there is an extension for that person,
Correct.
there is a role transition that is there. Or even business problem. You don't suddenly wake up and say, wait a minute, this is a problem that I can't handle. Let's get a Johnny from outside. The problem has been brooding. So
Correct.
coming back, I would say there is enough time for the organization to prepare, to know that a position is getting vacant, and therefore they can meaningfully research. And I go back to my big conviction, and that conviction is it is better to spend half an hour to half a day more on a particular candidate,
Hmm.
getting the right candidate, than glibly hiring the wrong candidate who's just available or who seems to click in that 15, 20 minutes of the interview and then live with them forever. And I
Correct.
equate this to marriage. And
Yeah.
that marriage is, it is better to spend 5 years less with the right person than to spend a whole of eternity with the wrong
Was
person.
the wrong person. As we close this discussion, are there any key messages which you would want to give uh, to the talent managers as well as the people who are the talent so I mean on both sides, any key messages, any key thoughts which you would
The
want
key
to leave
message
them
that
with?
I would like to give is, irrespective of the 5 avenues for which the position has got ventilated or opened, we need to look for, there are two kinds of skills that any particular individual possesses. Those two skills come under this category. One, which is demonstrated skills, which is measured by way of qualification and experience. And the other skill is transferable skills, which is skills which are acquired in one particular project or one particular assignment that can be transferred on to another project or another assignment, depending on what your nature of business is. whether it is run the business or change the business. If it is run the business, then there is a very heavy focus on demonstrated skills because it
Mm-hmm.
is the standard thing. We need
Yeah.
to have a demonstrated qualification and demonstrated experience. The question that I need to have in my mind is, has this person been there? Has this person done there? So I need to
Correct.
look for demonstrated, measurable skills,
Mm-hmm.
direct correlation. So I will
Mm-hmm.
put a heavy focus on that and then a little bit on some transferable skills to move up
Mm-hmm.
the value chain. But
Mm-hmm.
if the position that we are hiring for, if the organization that we are in is in change of business, then we need to look for transferable skills.
Mm-hmm.
Transferable skills are skills that are acquired in one particular project or in one particular assignment that can be transferred onto another role. And here I want to close with that example. In HCL Technologies, I moved in 2005 from sales and marketing into strategic HR.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a HR qualified person. My post graduation is in marketing and strategy.
Mm-hmm.
But when I got into HR, I was already a very good people person. I was very good in stakeholder management. I was very good in persuasive communication as a marketing person. I was very good in situation analysis as a marketing person. I was very good in problem solving. Now, problem solving, analytical skills, communication, stakeholder management are the skills that I am taking from my role as a marketing, sales and marketing head into the head HR. And I became successful like in 3 months. After 3 months, we said, oh, wow, man. I mean, this guy is eating all the HR guys alive. Why? Because my boss, when he recruited me or when we asked me to take on this particular role, he never looked at demonstrated skills because I was not a
Mm.
MBA HR. I
Correct.
did not have that role. There was no demonstrated skills or experience, but I had transferable skills. So my closing input is decide what or evaluate what the position is or what stage the organization is. If the
Mm-hmm.
organization, if the position that you are wanting to get is run the business, look for demonstrated skills. Look for the bullets in the biodata, which are already there. But if it is change the business, then look for transferable skills, skills that are acquired in one particular project. And this is where you can do cross industry hiring. And
Mm-hmm.
here again, I'll close with that. I, for 30 years or 3 decades, was in the IT industry.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, from HCL Technologies onward, I started my career with the Tatas in 1982. And I moved to Reliance Industries, which is a hydrocarbon industry,
Mm-hmm.
retail industry,
Mm-hmm.
as the head HR. So what I brought to the table is my transferable skills, both when I moved from sales and marketing into HR, as well as from an IT company into a hydrocarbon company.
Mm-hmm.
Examples of how my transferable skills has really made me successful. And that's how all my engagements have been.
Great. So, from a talent perspective, then does that mean that if I am a prospective candidate, do I also focus on my transferable skills, or do
So
I?
definitely,
I mean, as I mature in my career, do I focus more on the demonstrated part or on the transferable part?
we should focus more on the transferable skills.
Mm-hmm.
We can discuss about that in a greater detail in another episode, but that is going to be a key thing. What is my adjacency factor? For
Mm-hmm.
example, I mean, you're tempting me to give all my formulas away, but I'll give you my formula. What I would call the 2 by 2 by 2. What is the 2 by 2 by 2? You need to have experience or exposure in at least two geographies.
Mm-hmm.
So I moved from Bangalore to Delhi and from Delhi to US and US to
Yeah,
Canada. You need to have that
having been in different
adjacency
places. Yeah.
geography. The second one is two product or service lines. I mean, I was a Unix
Mm-hmm.
systems administrator. From there, I got into product management and I moved from the computing industry into the networking industry.
Mm-hmm.
Product or service line. The third one is functions. I mean, I was initially in coding or in programming.
Mm-hmm.
and then I got into marketing, and then I got into operations, I got into business development, I got into quality, I got into HR. So you need to have that transferable skill. Transfer your skills of being successful in one location to another location, one product line to another product line, one function to another function. And
Mm-hmm.
that's where we become more fungible or more deployable
Mm-hmm.
and become more universal.
I think that's a very powerful ending, Anand. I think you've given a key takeaway both for the talent as well as the talent manager. And I'd like to thank you again for your time on this discussion. And I look forward to many more discussions with you. And it's been really great. A good day to you.